The massive vessel was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was sleek, dark, and almost ghostly in its speed. The human ship began to release smaller fighter crafts, their weapons already blazing. These were no ordinary fighters, they were equipped with advanced cloaking devices and high-powered lasers. The humans had arrived, and with them, the possibility of victory. The alien fleet, stunned by the sudden appearance of these unexpected reinforcements, hesitated for a moment. That was all the time the humans needed. The small fleet of human ships, under the command of a legendary commander, Arya Stone, began striking with precision, crippling the alien forces one by one. They moved with incredible skill, using cloaking technology and expert tactics to outmaneuver the alien fleet, hitting them where it hurt the most. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Bonner allowed himself to believe. The humans had arrived, and they were fighting back, fighting for everyone. Could it be? Could humanity be the spark they needed to win this war? Bonner's heart raced as he watched the human ships wreak havoc on the alien invaders. There was still hope. The alien fleet was closing in fast, a sea of advanced warships stretching across the sky. Their weapons charged, ready to strike. The Alliance forces braced themselves for what they knew would be their final battle. Ships were disabled, and supplies were running out. Morale was low. The Alliance's ships were battered, and the enemy's overwhelming numbers were enough to crush them in an instant. Bonner stood on the command bridge, watching as the enemy ships drew nearer, their dark forms looming like a storm ready to swallow everything in its path. The tension was suffocating. The crew around him was silent, eyes fixed on the approaching destruction. Bonner felt a lump form in his throat. The final stand was upon them. If the aliens attacked now, there was no escaping, no hope. They were all doomed. But then, just as the aliens began to make their move, something extraordinary happened. From the corner of the station's radar, a small, cloaked ship appeared out of nowhere, cutting through the blackness of space like a ghost. It moved so quickly, the alien ships didn't even see it coming. The radar blips flickered, and the mysterious ship was already deep in the heart of the alien fleet. Bonner's heart skipped. He could hardly believe his eyes. It couldn't be. No one expected help to arrive in time, especially not from a ship this advanced. It was sleek, with a dark, angular design that contrasted sharply with the alien warships. It was nearly invisible, blending into the darkness of space like a shadow. For a moment, the fleet sensors couldn't even pick it up. The ship's weapons powered up with a low, vibrating hum, and then the chaos began. The silence of space shattered as the ship released a flurry of bright, precise shots. Laser beams and explosive rounds ripped through the alien fighters like they were paper. Alien ships that had once seemed indestructible were now falling apart in seconds. One by one, they were torn to shreds by this mysterious force. At first, the alien fleet hesitated. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. A single ship, this human warship, had appeared out of nowhere and was dismantling their forces faster than they could react. The enemy commanders quickly regrouped, their ships coming together to retaliate, but the human ship was too fast, too skilled. It moved in and out of the shadows, slipping past their defenses before they could even react. The power of the human ship was something the aliens hadn't prepared for. It was equipped with cloaking technology, allowing it to vanish from their sensors at will. The human fighters darted in and out, using their invisibility to strike from all angles. It was as if the battle was being fought by ghosts, humans attacking from the shadows, their movements unpredictable and deadly. Bonner stared in awe as the Alliance ships began to rally behind the human warship. They were no longer alone. The appearance of this ship was a lifeline, a symbol that humanity still had a fighting chance. The Alliance forces, who had been on the verge of giving up, were now emboldened. They regrouped, their ships flying with renewed strength, taking inspiration from the humans' incredible power. Leading the charge from the human warship was Commander Arya Stone. She was a legend, known for her cold precision and tactical brilliance. As the battle raged on, her voice cut through the chaos, giving orders with calm determination. Her strategy was clear: strike hard, strike fast, and keep the aliens off balance. She wasn't just a leader, she was the force that held her team together. The battle unfolded in a brilliant display of light and sound. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as Alliance and alien ships clashed in an intense, breathtaking fight. The human ship danced through the alien fleet, never staying in one place long enough for them to lock onto it. The Alliance ships, now reinvigorated, fought back with fierce determination, using their newfound confidence to launch devastating strikes against the alien forces. For the first time in what seemed like forever, the tide of the battle was turning. The Alliance forces were no longer retreating. They were fighting back, standing side by side with their human allies, pushing the alien invaders to the edge. The victory was still far from certain, but with the humans on their side, it seemed possible again. As the sky filled with explosions and flashing lights, Bonner couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. Maybe, just maybe, we have a chance, he thought, watching as the human ship tore through the alien ranks with relentless precision. The shadowy figure of the human fleet was the spark the Alliance needed to rekindle their will to fight. The battle raged on outside the alien fleet, but inside the heart of the chaos, a new plan was unfolding. The human forces, having turned the tide of battle with their unexpected arrival, now set their sights on the ultimate prize, the alien flagship. A massive warship bristling with advanced AI-controlled weapons and near-impenetrable shields, it was the brain of the alien fleet, and if they could take it down, they would strike at the core of the alien empire. The human forces had already proven their superiority in speed and tactics, but taking down the flagship would require more than just firepower. They had to be clever, strategic. And they had a secret weapon: advanced technology. Armed with drones, hacking devices, and cloaking technology, they planned a surprise attack that could disable the flagship's defenses from the inside. It was a risky move, one that could mean the end for everyone involved, but there was no other choice. They had to strike fast. Bonner, along with a team of elite soldiers, was selected for the mission. Their goal was simple: infiltrate the flagship, disable the ship's AI-controlled systems, and bring down the alien warlord who had been the source of the galaxy's suffering. This was it, the moment that could turn the war around. Failure was not an option. The human warship's small fleet descended through the chaos, weaving through enemy fire as they approached the flagship. The humans' cloaking devices worked flawlessly, hiding their movements from the alien fleet sensors. It was a delicate operation, one wrong move and they'd be discovered. As Bonner and his team boarded one of the smaller human vessels, the adrenaline began to surge through his veins. The odds were stacked against them. They knew the alien flagship was heavily guarded, and its AI-controlled defense systems were nearly impossible to breach. But for Bonner, the stakes were personal. As their ship docked with the alien flagship, the team prepared for the assault. The doors to the alien ship hissed open, and Bonner's heart pounded in his chest. They had entered the lion's den. Immediately, they were met with heavy fire. Alien soldiers, cybernetic creatures, and automated defense systems turned on them the moment they stepped onto the flagship's cold metal floors. Blaster fire rang out in all directions. Bonner ducked behind cover, his hand gripping his rifle tightly as he peered around the corner. The alien forces were everywhere, but they were no match for the humans' advanced tech and tactics. Drones flew overhead, slicing through alien defenses with surgical precision, while the soldiers fought their way forward, engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat when necessary. Bonner's mind raced as he moved with his team, taking out alien soldiers with quick, decisive strikes. His rifle barked, cutting down enemies with deadly accuracy, but the real fighting came when the enemy got too close. Bonner swung his fists, using his military training to disable alien combatants with brutal punches and kicks. Every swing felt like a personal blow. Each enemy he defeated was one less reminder of the endless suffering the alien empire had caused. But amidst the combat, memories began to surface. Bonner thought of his fallen comrades, soldiers who had fought beside him, who had died fighting for this cause. He thought of his family back home, waiting for a future that seemed impossible. The stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just a mission to destroy the alien fleet. It was about avenging the countless lives lost, about fighting for something more than survival. It was about fighting for a future, for peace. The battle raged on, the ship's corridors echoing with the sounds of explosions and gunfire. The closer they got to the ship's central control room, the heavier the resistance became. Alien cyborgs with enhanced strength and speed were dispatched to stop them, but the humans pressed forward, fighting through the pain, the fatigue, the fear. Their determination was their greatest weapon. As they neared the central chamber, Bonner's thoughts sharpened. This was it. The AI warlord was close. They could hear the deep, mechanical hum of the alien mainframe powering up, signaling that they were nearing their target. Bonner felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. If they failed now, it would mean the end of everything they had fought for. The AI warlord would crush them, and with it, any hope for the galaxy. But there was no turning back. Bonner's eyes hardened with resolve. He had lost so much already. This mission was his last chance to make it all worth something. The air inside the alien flagship was thick with tension. Bonner and his team had made it this far, pushing deep into the heart of the warship, but the battle was far from over. As they fought their way through the narrow, steel corridors, they could feel the weight of their mission on their shoulders. The AI-controlled systems had started to falter under the humans' relentless assault, and the alien fleet, once confident in its superiority, began to stumble. But the alien commander, a cold and calculating figure, was far from giving up. His desperation grew, and with it, his ruthlessness. He was not about to let a handful of humans end his reign. Bonner gritted his teeth as he and his team moved deeper into the flagship. The alien defenses were weakening, but that only meant one thing: the enemy would fight even harder to protect their commander. And protect him they did. Alien soldiers, cybernetic warriors, and deadly automated drones came at them in waves, forcing the humans to fight harder, faster, and with more precision. The walls of the flagship were soon painted with the marks of their struggle, blaster burns, scorch marks, and the aftermath of close-quarters combat. But despite the odds, the human resolve never wavered. Tragedy struck as Bonner's team neared the command center. They had already lost a few soldiers to the alien forces, but it was the final stand that broke his heart. With the enemy closing in, a group of soldiers stayed behind to hold the line, sacrificing themselves so Bonner and the others could complete their mission. It was a desperate move, but it was their only choice. As Bonner watched his comrades fall in battle, he knew that their sacrifice would not be in vain. Their bravery, their willingness to lay down their lives, would be remembered, and it would fuel him to finish what they had started. Bonner's mind raced as he moved forward. The loss of his team members weighed heavily on him, but he couldn't let it slow him down. He couldn't let their deaths be for nothing. As the command center loomed ahead, Commander Arya Stone's voice crackled over the comms. She had made the decision: a full assault on the warlord's command center. This was the moment. The humans' last chance at victory. The battle outside was reaching its peak. The human forces, though battered and exhausted, rallied behind the final push. The alien fleet was now in chaos. Their once imposing commander, the AI warlord, had lost control over his forces. The alien defenders were desperate, throwing everything they had at the humans in a final effort to hold on to power. But the humans, fueled by the sacrifices of their fallen comrades, fought with a new ferocity. They would not let the warlord's reign continue. They would not let the galaxy fall. Bonner and his team stormed the command center, fighting through the last line of alien defenders with every ounce of strength they had left. The walls shook with explosions, the air crackling with energy as the final moments of the battle played out. The alien warlord was waiting for them in the heart of the command center, surrounded by his personal guards and AI-controlled defenses. It was now or never. As Bonner stepped into the center of the warlord's lair, the tension in the room was palpable. The warlord, a towering figure clad in dark, high-tech armor, turned to face him. His cold, digital eyes glowed with an eerie light, a reflection of the AI that controlled him. For a moment, there was silence. The two enemies stood face to face, both bloodied and broken, but neither willing to back down. The confrontation that followed was brutal, raw, and unforgiving. Bonner moved with a determination that could not be stopped, his every move driven by the memory of his fallen comrades, by the burning desire to end the suffering of the galaxy. The warlord fought back with a cold, mechanical precision, his movements calculating and lethal. But Bonner was faster. Every punch, every strike, every blast of energy sent a shockwave through the room. The two clashed, their weapons humming and sparking as they collided. As the battle raged on, Bonner could feel the weight of the warlord's presence, the sheer power of the AI behind him. But Bonner fought with everything he had, every ounce of strength, every ounce of pain, every ounce of hope. He could see it in his mind, the faces of his fallen comrades, their sacrifices not in vain. And with that thought, Bonner made his final strike. The room fell silent as the warlord's body crumpled to the floor. The AI controlling him fizzled out, and the once feared alien commander was no more. Bonner stood over the defeated warlord, panting heavily, bloodied and exhausted, but victorious. As the alien fleet faltered and the remaining soldiers surrendered, Bonner felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. The battle was over, but the cost had been high. His comrades, those who had fallen, would never be forgotten. The war was won, but it was won through sacrifice. The camera zoomed out from Bonner, his figure standing tall amidst the wreckage of the command center, the flickering lights of the flagship around him a testament to the price of victory. The galaxy had been saved, but at what cost? Bonner didn't have the answer, but as he looked out over the battlefield, he knew one thing for certain: the humans had won. And that victory, however hard-earned, would be remembered for generations to come. The silence that followed the defeat of the alien warlord was deafening. As the final echoes of battle faded, the once feared alien fleet began to retreat. The AI-controlled armada, which had been unstoppable just hours before, was now a shadow of its former self. Ships limped away from the battlefield, broken and scattered, their once advanced technology rendered useless by the human force's relentless assault. The warlord, their leader, had fallen, and with him, the AI's iron grip on the galaxy was shattered. Bonner stood amidst the wreckage of the flagship, his body battered and bruised from the brutal fight. The battle had been won, but the cost was high. The men and women who had fought beside him were no longer there. Their sacrifices weighed heavily on his heart, but he knew that they had given everything for this moment. This victory was as much theirs as it was his. His fallen comrades were heroes, their names forever etched into the galaxy's history as the ones who fought to save it. As the Alliance forces regrouped, Commander Arya Stone stood at the center of the command room, her face marked with exhaustion but also a deep sense of pride. The battle had been long and brutal, but humanity had shown its true strength. She looked out at the remaining crew, their faces solemn but determined, knowing that they had achieved the impossible. "We didn't just fight to survive," she said, her voice steady, yet filled with emotion. "We fought to show them, humanity never gives up." The camera zoomed out from the command center, showing the scattered remains of the alien fleet drifting in space. The once ominous presence of the invaders had been erased, leaving only the aftermath of the conflict. The galaxy, once teetering on the edge of extinction, began to heal. The Alliance's victory marked the beginning of a new era, one where humanity would no longer be underestimated. They had proven that no matter the odds, no matter the enemy, they could rise and change the course of history. The Alliance forces, though battered and scarred, were not broken. With the alien threat eliminated, they began the slow but steady process of rebuilding. Ships that had been damaged were repaired, alliances that had been fractured were mended, and the survivors began to pick up the pieces of a shattered galaxy. It would take time, but humanity had learned something important through this war. They were stronger than they had ever realized. But as the camera pans over the vast expanse of the galaxy, the remnants of the alien empire still lingered in the dark corners of space. The war had ended, but the scars of battle would remain for generations. Humanity, though victorious, knew the road ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, threats, and sacrifices to come. But the victory over the AI-controlled alien forces had sparked something greater, a belief in the possibility of a future free from tyranny. Bonner's thoughts turned to his fallen comrades once more. Their faces haunted him, but he took comfort in the knowledge that their sacrifices had not been in vain. Their courage had lit the way for humanity's future. They had shown the galaxy that humanity could stand up, even against the most powerful enemies, and fight for a better tomorrow. The Alliance, now united and stronger than ever, looked forward to the future. They knew that the battle for the galaxy wasn't over, it had only just begun. But humanity had proven that they could survive, that they could fight, and that they could win. The galaxy had been saved, and with it, a new hope for the future was born. As the camera zooms out further, the stars twinkled with the promise of a new era, one where humanity, the once weak and underestimated species, had proven its place in the galaxy. The fight had been long and hard, but in the end, it was humanity's will to survive that had made all the difference. The final shot lingered on Bonner, his gaze fixed on the horizon, knowing that though the war was over, the journey had only just begun. The galaxy was waiting, and humanity was ready to rise once more.